Oh
hit it.
man, this is gonna be good.
So I assume you're announcing that it's a dry episode up front, Marianne?
I can't, like when I'm handing off the toast part, I can do that. Hold on, let me see what.
What is that, Jeremy?
I'll put my whiskey to the side.
Dean won.
There he is.
And DJ.
Wow.
Hey,
Did you guys drive together? You got on at the same time.
Who's that?
Did you drive together?
Did we? How are you?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Dean Kiss, how are you?
Good.
It's a celestial body behind you, I see.
Yeah, I'm celebrating the Mars landing last
We're
week.
definitely going to talk about it. We have fun things afoot for the episode this evening, so I think we kind of want to jump into it very quickly. So,
The price of improvement is failure. Welcome to Liquid Philosophy.
hey everybody, welcome to Liquid Philosophy. We are still in season 4, and we have a great episode for episode 4 of season 4. We have our Dean versus Dean, or Dean with Dean episode. We have Dean Carl Maticola from the School of Health and Human Sciences. Yes, I'm saying that right. And then we have Dean John Kiss from the College of Arts and Sciences joining us today. We're excited to join you for the spring season of Liquid Philosophy. We've got a lot going on. We're still in some pandemic time, so we're going to get into some interesting conversations about what it's like to be a dean during these times. So welcome.
Yay!
Yay!
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So as always, I'm Marianne Lagreco. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Communication Studies, and I'm going to make Justin and Jeremy introduce themselves too.
I'm Justin Harmon. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Community and Therapeutic Recreation, HHS represent.
And I'm Jeremy Rinker, an assistant professor in Peace and Conflict Studies, soon hopefully to be associate professor in Peace and Conflict Studies. So yeah, HHS.
We're outnumbered, Marianne.
I know, right?
That was intentional.
At the same time, though, I'm the tenured one, so I'm like, I'm fine with that. We may be outnumbered, but well, we are happy to have you with us here today. We're having a bit of a dry episode, but at the same time, we still want to have a toast to kick things off. So I'm going to ask Justin to give us a little toast to kick off this episode.
I got my
Yeah.
water.
So in the spirit of
I have another Golden Girls mug this time.
in the spirit of Jeremy being under review, I tried to find an appropriate toast for that because he's going up for 10 years. So here's to those who've seen us at our best and seen us at our worst and can't tell the difference.
Cheers.
That's for you, buddy.
Yeah, and you might not get tenure because of this, so be careful.
Yeah, that's what I was threatened. I was told that I have to make sure that nothing happens to my beloved Dean during this episode.
Mhm.
It's called teamwork.
Right.
I feel like we've weathered this terrain before, though, because we had your predecessor on, Carl, in a
Dean
previous
Hooper.
episode.
No?
And we've had the chancellor on and a previous provost, so I think we'll be okay.
We haven't pissed off the wrong people yet.
Or at least we don't think so.
All right, so to get into things quickly, I'm actually going to bring up, John, your background, because it's been a big week. Like, I'm a space nerd, so I definitely watched the Perseverance landing on Mars. It was really exciting. I got a little teared up. Like, I don't cry. And like right in the last couple of seconds before they were confirming that it had touched down and that it made it, like I got a little teared up because I was like, this is people's lives work, and they've been sending this, like they've been prepping it for a really long time. It's been in transit for a while, and so much can go wrong when it's landing, and they made it. So are you excited about Mars as much as I am?
I am, and I think the mission has been going really well. I was concerned because this was a very novel landing mechanism with the sky crane, and it looked awfully complex to me. But it worked. It worked beautifully, and they have all sorts of videos. And um, I've worked with NASA for a long time, and I've been the JPL to Jet Propulsion Lab where they run those experiments, and they do really amazing work. Um, one thing that struck me, Marianne, from the when you looked at the control room at JPL was diversity. I mean, NASA has made so much progress. In fact, the woman who was narrating the landing was Indian American, and there are a lot of women there, and I think that was a really cool thing as well.
I also noticed it was kind of strange, and maybe they're not a huggy group to begin with, but like it was all fist bumps and elbow bumps because we're still in a pandemic. And
Yeah.
I was like, would they have been a hugging kind of group to begin with?
Well, they're engineers. So
I know, right?
tough,
They might have been relieved that it was just a fist bump.
Yeah.
But we kind of want to use that as a segue to talk about a little bit about both of your research. Maybe just a couple of minute overview about what you do in addition to being dean. Justin and Jeremy are going to come back for both of you, Carl and John, to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a dean. But we want to hear a little bit about what else you do, particularly in terms of your research. So if you could each give us just, a 2-minute quick overview of what do you do and why it's important.
John, you want to
start? John, you want to go first? Since we're on the
so that's a really good question. I'm a plant biologist. I'm a faculty member of the biology department. And I've worked with NASA since 1987. And I've had 8 space flight missions, and I'm very, very proud of that. And I have this kind of quaint notion. I think administrators should be role models. So I've been maintaining a research program. It's tough. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do as dean, but I have a lab. I have a small group. I have a postdoc. I have 4 to 5 undergrads, and it's really, in addition to the research, it's a way for me to directly connect with students. And I'm actually interested in how light and gravity influence plant development. But I'm also interested in how plants would grow on Moon and Mars with the reduced gravity levels. And the last experiment we did on the International Space Station used a centrifuge, and we were able to simulate the Moon-Mars levels of gravity.
I think it's cool stuff. Like I said, I'm a big space geek.
Over my head.
I know. I'm sitting here. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Can we actually survive off this planet? I remember when was it the Brian Speaker series? Mark and Scott Kelly came in, and it was right after I guess Scott got back, and they were looking at what are the differences between their bodies now that one of them had been in space for a year, and part of it was to figure out like, how long can we actually survive in different levels of non-Earth gravity? And so, did you get to hang out with them when they came?
I did not. I actually didn't know about it till after, but I hung out once with Mark Kelly at a SpaceX launch when one of our experiments was going up, and I have a great picture of him and I, which I tweeted the day he got elected to the Senate to congratulate him.
I was real pumped about that. My sister got to vote for him. I was kind of jealous.
Yeah, so Dean Matacola, you do research related to skeletal function, muscle function in jockeys. Isn't that correct?
Justin, so the jockey work that I did was at the very end of my career before coming here. Most of my work up to that point was specific to musculoskeletal rehab. And so I started out specifically working with athletes and investigating the consequences and rehab return to function and strength and balance for people who had ACL injuries. So people that tore their ligament in their knee. I also did quite a bit of work in postural control and postural stability. And so probably an easy way of sort of summarizing much of my work was what I would say rehab outcomes, rehabilitation outcomes following surgery or following injury. And then for years, myself and several of my colleagues at my previous institution, many of them were orthopedic surgeons, we worked together and had some research teams, and much of that research focused on postoperative outcomes. And then probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was asked to assist some jockeys in the Jockey Guild, which is basically the union for jockeys. They represent jockeys. And when I say jockeys, equine jockeys for thoroughbred racing. And part of their challenge was putting together a concussion protocol. So how could they have someone on site, and how could they test jockeys and have a follow-up, post concussion? So just to put it in perspective, most sports, most teams, most colleges, most high schools have what you'd call a concussion protocol. It means that you do some sort of baseline before the season. If someone's injured, you have that information to help you make decisions about whether they can return to play or if they still might be compromised. And so that works really well if you have what I would call a stable infrastructure. And what I mean by that is in professional sports, you have professional leagues. You have the NBA or you have the NFL. And collegiate sports, you have the NCAA, and all of your athletes and clients and patients are contained, within that unit or contained within that conference. One of the really interesting and challenging parts about horse racing is jockeys are independent contractors. And so, it's not uncommon, particularly in the spring, for a high-level jockey to race 2 days or a day in New York, hop on a plane and be in Kentucky for races at 1 o'clock the next day and race 2 or 3 days and turn around and go back again. And so one of the challenges is there is no organization, there's no body that oversees horse racing at a national level. It's really based on a state-by-state guidelines. And so all of that introduction to say that my introduction to jockeys was helping with a concussion protocol, got to really be a part of some policy and be a part of some practical clinical work that took place. And this was primarily in Kentucky at Keeneland and Churchill Downs. And then that grew to, we had a new dean that came into our former college, and he created a sports medicine research institute. And part of that sports medicine research institute and vision was he wanted to have an equine jockey component. And so we basically took the concepts that we know in sports medicine, the prevention piece, the evaluation piece, the how to get someone back in the saddle or back exercising post-injury. And we created what was called the Equine Jockey Institute that was a part of our Sports Medicine Research Institute. And at the time, we were only one of, I think, 2 places in the US that had the best way to describe it is a mechanical horse. And so basically you could get on this horse and it would move at a speed equivalent to racing at 25, 30 miles an hour. So it was mechanical, and it had some pretty cool sensors in there. We could get force from the bit and from the saddle. And it allowed us to have a real world testing site for individuals who were injured or individuals that were looking for rehab. So I tease a little bit because the jockey work was the most exposure certainly I've received of any research, but it really wasn't my strongest, or I would say if you were looking to rank the journal articles, it wasn't my strongest work, but it was a lot of fun and it was really beneficial. And they're a group that still is underrepresented as far as having a what I would call a collective from a medical standpoint. And so there's still a lot of work to do.
But what we'd like to do, here's a little non sequitur, is we'd like to find out about how you both ended up as deans. And we're curious, Dean Kiss, we'll start with you, if it's a punishment or an honor to be a dean.
Yeah, I could answer that question. So I was a regular faculty member for 17 years before I became department chair. But even before that, people had approached me about, hey, John, you should think about running for chair. And my answer was, hell no, I don't want to do that, because I was having too much fun as a faculty member. And I was frankly really worried that I was going to mess up my research program. And so then the chairmanship came around and I applied. I was in a different kind of mindset. I said, okay, it's a new challenge. And I became chair. And this is really dangerous to say to faculty, but I liked it much more than I thought I would. And I mean, certain things I really liked, mentoring junior faculty. I liked helping undergrads and doctoral students. And as chair, you had a wider reach. Ironically, my research program was fine when I was chair. I actually never had as much grant money as when I had 3 federal research grants. And I think when you're chair, you're in the department. It's you could do that stuff. It does become harder when you become dean. But most deans are not really expected to do research, but to me, it's part of my identity. So it's really important for me to do it, because I've been doing cool research projects and I never want to completely stop. So what happened was then, since I like being chair, I said, well, maybe I should try being dean to try to influence a larger group. And, I guess I'm used to being dean now, but in some ways I'm kind of surprised because it really wasn't my path. It was just because it was something that was really, I found interesting as chair. And I love being dean. I think, arts and sciences is a large, diverse group. We have 25 units and I embrace that diversity. We have a really good faculty. And yeah, even in this challenging time, I really like my job.
So Carl, as you answer this, and feel free, Dean Kiss, to jump in as well. I'm curious, like that you mentioned this combination of research and administration and the difficulty of the worry about balancing that. And I'm just curious if you've ever had faculty or others within administration, within the university, coming up and asking you, like, what did you do wrong to get put in this position, right? It's a painful position in some sense, I can imagine, right? And I asked that as somebody who was a former Peace Corps volunteer in the Soviet Union, and I got that question a lot, right? What did you do in your country to get sent here? I was in Kazakhstan, and so lots of people, I mean, in all seriousness, they asked me, what did you do wrong? What law did you break, right?
Well, so I mean, Carl and I are both, external deans to UNCG. Most of the time that's the case. So I mean, I wanted to be arts and sciences dean. Ever since I was an undergrad, I've always been in arts and sciences colleges, and I don't feel like I'm being punished. I mean, I think there's difficult things about the job, but I think it's a really great job. I mean, I'll let Carl comment now and tell you the real answer.
I don't know about it. So it was chosen or punishment? Was that the phrase?
Yeah, and what brought you to it? I mean, why?
Yeah, so I've been a part of, I've had an administrative role since my 3rd year as a faculty member, and non-intentional. The individual who was the program director in my first position, which was at Temple University, left. And so I assumed that duty early on. And then when I went to University of Kentucky, it was to start a program. And so it was really fun, very similar to coming here. It was, a new place, completely new culture, with the opportunity to build something from scratch. And so it's interesting that you asked that, because I've had very supportive deans in the past, and I had some administrative positions, interim positions in our dean's office, and I had a dean, Lori Gonzalez, who she just accepted the provost position at University of Louisville. She was at University of Tennessee. She was someone who was in my corner, early on, and she always I think wanted me to be a dean, and I think I let her down for a number of years because I was very happy. Almost as John said, I was working in our doctoral program. I directed a rehab sciences doctoral program, and it was a lot of fun. And so I hadn't really thought about the step of, okay, I need to be a dean, or I want to be a dean, or this is an aspiration. And if my comment to her was, if the right position or something came along, great. But if I don't achieve that, or I don't reach that, or I don't apply for that, then no loss. Like, I don't feel like my life, that I didn't meet a goal that I set out. And so I say all that just because, to get sentimental a little bit, years ago, we were at a conference in Toronto, and my mom came up to the conference and she met this dean and several of our associate deans. And she said to my mom, he's going to be a dean someday. And for years, God rest her soul, she just passed away a couple of years ago, she would always, when I would come home for the holidays, she'd say, are you applying any dean's position? Lori said you're going to be a dean. When are you going to be a dean? And I'm like, Mom, I'm not a dean.
My stepdad does the same thing to me
Yeah.
all the time. He's like, you going to be a dean yet? That's not like the next. I was like, I don't want to be a dean.
And so, long story short, this position presented itself. And I think, as John would attest to, I was an associate dean in my previous role. And so you'd often get emails from search firms that would say, your name's been put forward, would you be interested? And so this was one that I looked at, and it was, it is not punishment at all. I think one of the exciting things about UNCG, and certainly our School of Health and Human Sciences, is, as John said, it's very diverse. Most of the health science or allied health colleges over the years were really, really focused on professional programs. I mean, that's how they started. And so one of the fun things about being at UNCG HHS is that we have a really diverse group, right? We have peace and conflict studies, CTR, kinesiology, social work, human development, family studies. So it's a much broader intellectual and research and scholarship, focus than I was used to in the past, which has been a lot of fun.
All right, I've got. Okay.
Can I add one other thing?
Go ahead. And then
When I think about, so this is along the line, deans are people too, but I think we're like, I have a faculty appointment in one of my departments, as does Carl. So, I'm a faculty member, and this may say, I try to think about, when you're in administration, you have to have this broader picture, and that's I think what makes it really exciting. But I really try to think in terms of a faculty member on a lot of issues, and I think that helps me, and I hope that never goes away, because I'll tell you, sometimes how do I put this diplomatically, there might be like a certain initiative that's coming from somewhere, I won't say from where, and I know faculty are going to be really skeptical about this, because I put myself in that mindset. And but at the end of the day, I think it helps me.
I would absolutely. I think I would hope that if I was ever in an administrative position, that I would approach things similarly, in terms of always trying to still see it as I'm still a faculty member too. All right, I do have one question before we're going to move on to some fun stuff here in just a second, but I have one quick question, and I really do want this to be a quick question. What do you think is the thing you've learned the most being a dean during a pandemic?
Well, I'll take a stab at that. I think our faculty and students were remarkably resilient and flexible. One of the things that higher ed gets a rap for, we're critiqued, is the glacial pace of change. And that's probably true, but I was thinking about, like, last March, like in 1 week, we had to go from face-to-face to Zoom and virtual. And, there are different degrees of comfort with that. There are some people, it's no big deal, they taught online. Other people, like, they could never imagine they would teach online. And we had problems. There were, some glitches, but, and I've heard about the glitches, but I think that's a remarkable success story, and I think it shows it's a credit both on many fronts. I mean, there are other things too. There's a real credit to both the faculty and the students. I mean, at UNCG, we haven't had big outbreaks. Our We don't have these big fraternity sorority culture. Our students have to work to pay the tuition bills. So I'm very proud of. I think that's what I learned is, I guess, really the resilience of faculty and students.
Dean
Well, it's-
Matacola, your response?
Yeah, I'd add compassion and empathy. I think the thing I probably watched the most during this was faculty and students and all of us recognizing how different the stresses are, and so, I don't have children. I've got 2 dogs and a cat, and they're pretty easy to take care of. And so the challenges that some of our faculty and students and staff, were put before them is impressive. And so I think our faculty's ability to be compassionate and empathetic and still get the job done. And probably the biggest challenge for me was, how much do you push and pull? I mean, the work still needs to go on. People need, you still have deadlines and you still have to hold people accountable. But, I also recognize that myself included and others were just tired and stressed and not sure what to do. And it was, so that part of it, I think, really shined through it in all levels of the university. I feel like, when people talk about leadership and talk about different components of administration, I think our administration showed that really well, that we're in it. We'll try to do our best to get through it, and we'll give it I appreciate the give it a whirl, because early on, I don't know about you, John, but there were certainly faculty who were very, very adamant that we shouldn't even try. And I think the same as you. I think we all took a little bit of pride in knowing that our students were really, really responsible and did the things that they should, so that we could, so we could keep going and doing the thing as well as the preparation.
It's often easy to be cranky about students, right, as faculty, but I will say, teaching a class on campus right now, I'm impressed by even just walking across campus, how many students have masks on, they're following, at least from what I can tell, they're following the rules, which it's kind of surprising to me, actually, how well that's been done. They've, so I just props to students for that.
Absolutely. Same situation in all my classes as well. Hopefully we'll get beyond it soon, but I think we're going to move on to the game now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's time for some fun stuff. Okay, so I think, Carl, you might have been informed that we were at least playing a game. John, I might have forgotten to tell you we're playing a game. So we decided.
As long as you let me share some screens.
We will share some screens. I'm gonna share this one to begin with, because we have decided to put together a little ditty called UNC Jeopardy, the Dean versus Dean edition.
I'm gonna lose.
Actually, you might not, because most of the questions are fake.
Okay.
Justin made up a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. So we will get to some of these questions here in a moment. I'm gonna run the board, and Justin is going to ask the answers, I guess, and then. Can you all test out your hand raising feature?
Oh God, where is that? I forget.
Mine's reactions on the bottom right.
Reactions.
Oh yeah.
I got reactions. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So Jeremy is going to keep score and keep an eye on who raises their hand first.
Can I just give up? Yeah, see, I told you Carl's going to win.
This is where it's liquid philosophy. So this is where you would typically take a drink.
So whatever reaction you would like to use to.
Nice.
I need to explain one of the categories when we get to that.
Oh, we will get there. We will explain all of the categories when we get there.
I'm trying to get rid of these now. Sorry. There we go. Sorry.
Okay, there we go.
I haven't seen one from Dean Kiss yet. Okay, there we go.
There we go. All right, we are all set then. All right, so where's my cursor? There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and reveal the board next. Are y'all ready? We're gonna talk through the categories here. So our categories are: so you want to graduate, which is a set of questions or / answers that relate to superstitions and traditions and other rules related to being a student and graduating at UNCG. We have potpourri as our next category, which is a hodgepodge of questions. Most of them are related to liquid philosophy episodes and or guests. You don't have to have seen past episodes to figure them out. Then we have UNCG alternative facts, which is basically just stuff that Justin made up. And so your best guess is as good as ours. Then we have just in time to kill a joke, where the answer the question in every situation is,
Don't give it away.
oh no, that's part of the fun. They all have the same one. They all have the same answer. You'll figure it out pretty quickly. And then finally, popular music, where not only do you have to give the question of the song, you have to sing a little bit of it, even if it's just a couple times.
So let me give you an example. So if the answer is what Fleetwood Mac wants you to do, the question would be is what is Say You Will? So you'd have to go, something in you brought out something in me that I haven't been since, or something. You can sing in any part of the
you
song.
can even sing like 2 words and we'll be happy.
Can't we add like geography or something?
I know, right? As you will also see, there are no points or no dollar amounts. All of the prizes are things such as, a large rock, the link to the Liquid Philosophy archive. I will actually send you a picture of my pugs. They're pretty cute. And, Jeremy's book is already out, but I'm sure he'll send you copies, and I'll send you a copy of mine when it comes out too. But as you can see, most of our values and prizes are a little.
There we go.
Hey, Corgi! Yay! That's awesome.
He scratched at the door.
All right, you all ready?
So,
What is photosynthesis? No?
all right, so you got to choose who's going first.
Who's going first?
Carl.
All right,
All right. Will
Carl, Matt, choose a
Carl, will you
category.
select our first category and value, please?
So can we jump around?
We can jump around. Yep, all over the place. I programmed this like a champ, so hopefully it works.
So you want to graduate a sack of rocks.
All right. Avoid walking under this campus structure, at least until after you've graduated.
Dean Medical raises
clock.
hand first.
Campus. The clock tower.
In the form of a question, please.
What is the clock tower?
What does he want? A sack of rocks?
You want a sack of rocks? Yes.
All right.
You gotta lower your hand, Carl, to be fair.
Sorry.
All right, the next category.
Who picks it?
Carl, still.
Oh, potpourri, a copy of Jeremy's book, please, for 0 points.
All right. This small woodland creature, known for its fondness of storing acorns for the winter, is also said to reside in Jeremy Rinker's beard.
What is a squirrel?
Yes.
Yay.
Can't believe I got one right.
All right.
And
On a
actually,
roll.
Justin's beard's longer now, so I mean, we could.
John, you get to go.
God. How about just in time to kill a joke, a flip phone?
All right. The founder of the Be Here Club, formerly known as Beer Club, a monthly meetup of UNCG faculty and staff at local Greensboro breweries, at least before COVID.
John raises hand first.
This is Justin, isn't it?
Phrase it as a question.
Oh, who is Justin
That's
Harmon?
right. All right, you're on a
Remember,
roll.
you're going to see a theme in
You
this
started it?
category.
Justin, you started it?
I did, yes.
I didn't know that.
I remember that.
And then when did Elise?
The third year. Elise and Monica took over during the third year.
Okay, cool.
All
I
right.
do apologize that the values don't disappear after we've collected them, but I'm keeping track, so we're good to go.
All right. John, you get to pick again.
Poor decision.
All right. The creator of the slogan for Liquid Philosophy, it's like a party where the audience isn't invited.
Who is Jeremy?
Actually, I think Dean Kiss had his hand up
Yeah.
first.
Trying to give him some fun.
Who is Jeremy Rinker?
Neither of you listened to the instructions. Nope, I'm sorry. We were looking for who is Justin Harmon.
Oh, duh.
Now you got it.
All right, Carl, you get to choose the category. I guess. Oh, I don't even know.
Lower your hands, guys. There we go.
Yeah, I guess.
Carl, go ahead. You pick next.
Popular music, crumbs from a bag of Fritos, please.
Ooh, all right. Lady Gaga recently sang this national anthem in 4/4 time, but we'll let you sing it in the traditional 6/8.
Nobody's answering.
Do you not know or do you not want to sing it?
I don't know.
Both.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I can't sing it in 6/8 time. I have to slow down.
So y'all passing?
Yeah.
Because it is the Star Spangled Banner.
Marianne, you have to sing it then.
Oh, I should have
No.
known that. I was at the inauguration.
It was at the inauguration, yep.
All right, John, you get to go.
A bounce check.
Is that the same category? Or what
No,
category?
he's in Just in Time to Kill a
No,
Joke.
no.
Carl, it's you.
What is Justin Harmon? Who is Justin Harmon?
Who is Justin Harmon?
Wait, I didn't even get to read
Although
this.
I think we need to. Oh, it won't let me go back. It won't let me go back.
That's fantastic.
It was a good question. Hold on, we'll go back to the home screen because it is a pretty funny question.
It's easy to spot this UNCG faculty member either on campus or riding his bike. Just look for his definitive hair-beard combo, arguably the best on campus.
You can tell who wrote that one.
It's too subjective. I saw another dude with a beard and a bike.
He's copying me then.
Okay.
All right, Carl. I think you got that one right, didn't you?
Potpourri and a copy of Marianne's book for 800, please.
A critique of this ideology, known primarily for upholding both economic liberalism and free market capitalism, is what Marianne expects to come out of Jeremy's mouth on any given episode of Liquid Philosophy.
On Kiss.
What is Marxism?
Oh.
No.
All right, Carl?
I don't know.
We were looking for what is neoliberalism.
Oh, that's the same. Come on. You should give me that
Be a
one.
regular watcher of Liquid Philosophy to get that one.
Okay, so
No,
the prize
come
was
on.
a
You
copy
should
of
give
my book. I'll give
Marxism, neoliberalism. That's
We
close
give him a
enough.
half point for it.
John, the value for it was a copy of my book, so I will send you a copy of the page proofs at
Aw.
the halfway point when it gets here.
Can we just keep coming back to that one or no?
Well,
Or do you want to do it once?
if there's time.
I want a copy of Marianne's book.
Oh, we're coming here. Our cover is gorgeous, I will tell you that.
All right, who gets to choose now?
Who chose last?
Let's see. John, go ahead. You pick.
A missing thing under Justin.
A missing button.
Yeah.
John's raised his hand first.
The third official symbol of UNCG next to Minerva and the Spartan.
Oh,
Funny.
what is Justin Harmon?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, incorrect, Alex. It's who is Justin Harmon?
That is true. Well, we'll each give you a missing button for that. All right. I don't even know who's supposed to be going anymore. We've lost control of the game.
We have. I think John picked the last one, right?
All
Yeah.
right. Carl, go ahead.
And you got it right. So
All right. Whoever wants to go ahead.
A large rock.
large rock.
Oh, no, we did too small.
If you want to pass your finals, make sure you leave a piece of this fruit at the foot of the Minerva statue.
Oh. I'm gonna pick Carl. They came at the same time.
An apple. What is an apple?
Yes. All right.
How about a photocopy of Justin's diploma?
Yeah, that's valuable. Make sure you take at least this number of credit hours if you want to graduate from most undergraduate programs at UNCG.
John Kiss.
120.
Yes,
What is 120 credit hours?
that is correct.
All right.
We have audience participation. All right,
Feeding and getting answers, I think.
John.
I don't know what's available. I can't.
We still have some to pick from. Nobody's picked anything from the UNCG alternative facts.
Ooh.
Okay, a lifetime supply of life.
This period of time is often referred to as 13th grade on UNCG's campus.
Carl. Oh, you're muted.
What is a freshman?
Yes.
Yes. What is freshman year?
All right.
I didn't know that.
I will take a screenshot from tonight's show.
Ooh, very valuable.
Hold on, there it goes.
Sometimes referred to as UNCG's crosstown rival.
Remember, it's alternative facts.
Oh, quit giving it away.
Oh, I don't know. I was going to say, what is North Carolina A&T?
You want to?
Yeah, that's what I would have said. Justin.
He thinks this is super funny.
I think it's hilarious.
That's what I'm going to say, but
Show us the answer or the question. What is Leon Beauty School is what we were looking for.
God, is there
That one
such a
out.
thing?
There is. Yeah. Actually, it's a really great story about business in Greensboro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thought it was funny.
I told you.
That's all that matters.
Oh, somebody pick a sack of rocks. Or no, 2 small rocks, because this one makes me laugh.
I thought I did.
No, we
Well-
picked a sack of rocks. We need to pick 2 small rocks.
So since he got that wrong, is it my turn or is it John's
Sure.
turn?
Yes, go for it, Carl.
How about 2 small rocks?
Hey!
please?
The spot to mark the date and time at the rock to let the next group know when they can paint it. Also the prize for this question.
Carl.
Actually, I don't know. What is the area next to the rock or on the rock? I don't know.
Also the prize for this question. Remember that part?
A rock. On the rock. What is on the rock?
What are 2 small?
What are 2 small rocks?
I didn't do this earlier.
We've got a lot left in popular music.
I don't think they're going to sing anything, guys.
It's popular music.
No.
Not happening.
All right,
I'm
what's
going to start
left in
picking
alternative
random
facts?
ones, like a guided tour of Tate Street. Here we go.
UNCG's winning a sport. This team has remained undefeated since 1891.
Carl.
What is football?
Yes.
What is the UNCG football team? We had a similar joke at my undergraduate because we didn't have a football team either. And so we're the Bradley Braves. So I was Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois. And we were trying to replace our mascot at one point in time. And so we actually had t-shirts that said Bradley Fighting Squirrels, undefeated since, I think we were 1896.
The fighting squirrel that lived in Jeremy's beard, huh?
Right, exactly.
All right. What is left, Marianne?
I think we've covered a lot of them.
Yeah.
We've gotten all of the Justin doesn't have a book yet.
I don't.
Let's take that one.
The only liquid philosophy guest to have an asteroid named after him.
John.
John Z. Kiss. It's asteroid 8267.
In the form of a question, please.
Who is John Z.
He
Kiss?
got it wrong.
Who is John Z?
John Z. Kiss, asteroid 82 69 483.
So, some folks might not know this, but Dean Kiss has an asteroid named after him.
Well, there's another question we haven't asked them yet because there's another easy answer.
There's another.
This UNCG faculty member and current liquid philosophy guest comes from the same hometown as our show's first guest, Bob Weinberg. John, I think your hand was up.
His hand was up,
That
but
might
then
be for the previous question.
it went down. Yeah. No, he's back. Okay, John.
Okay, Zach.
Who is Carl Matacola?
That's correct.
It's wrong.
It's
What?
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. So very different.
Oh, we got
Yeah.
misinformation. It should have been under alternative facts. Sorry, Carl.
Yeah, could have been. That's okay.
I still get credit though.
You can get credit for that one.
You
So
sound like
Bob was from Utica, New York, and I actually grew up in Rome, New York. And so,
Same thing.
2 different cities, yeah.
Same thing.
Is there anything left that they'll answer?
We have almost run the board, I think. I think the only things that are left are songs, which I'm just going to bring this one up because I think it's funny because this was the only daily double because we were going to ask you to do a duet of
Nirvana's first song, its title was inspired by a popular deodorant marketed to teenage girls.
Is that your hand, Carl?
Well, it wasn't, but what is glycerin?
No, that's a Bush song.
Was it? Okay.
I didn't know that was a deodorant.
What is it?
Smells like teen. What is Smells Like Teen Spirit?
Ah.
You're both, feel free to sing.
Next time you're gonna have to put the lyrics, on the screen.
Right.
Well, is that the end of our UNC Jeopardy?
I feel like that we have run the board as best we're going to run. I still want to point out that I think an Uber ride from Curry to Ferguson was probably the best prize on the board.
But it was in the song, so nobody picked it, right? Well, I mean, and if you look at the score, it's literally 5-5.
Hey, well done. So in our Dean versus Dean edition, we have definitely
So we're gonna have them back for a grudge match.
I know, right? We'll have you back on it. We've been talking about doing a live episode for a season ender, so who knows? Maybe we will have the return of, maybe you guys should dress up as Alex Trebek and Sean Connery the next time, and we'll do it like super SNL style. And by you guys, I mean Justin and Jeremy. Yeah.
I think Dean Kiss wants to share some images with us.
Yeah,
I do.
Share with us.
But, there it is. Kiss 8267.
Uh-huh.
Now that's a screenshot you want, huh?
Wow.
And well, right now it's pretty far from where. Well, this is the. I found out about the asteroid on Christmas Eve, which was a beautiful Christmas gift.
Nice.
Because it was, I got a call from Paris, it's the headquarters of COSPAR, the International Committee on Space Research. And with this medal, you get an asteroid, and it's for real. Like, this is from the JPL database, and it's also in the Minor Planet Center database. And in the 1800s, I have some good neighbors. There's like Gershwin. There's Matisse.
Wow.
So I'm in a good neighborhood here.
When does it come closest to the Earth? Like, what is there a certain time of year when
well,
closest?
being a dean, I have a lot of free time on my hands, so I explored this database. So this it's going to be, the Earth is moving and the asteroid is moving. So this year on August 18th, it'll be close to Earth. It's still far away. It'll only be 100 million miles away. And it's in the main asteroid belt. I get when it was announced, I got all these things. It's like, I hope it doesn't hit the Earth. It's unlikely because it's in the main asteroid belt.
Would you be honored if it destroyed the Earth, though?
No, I wouldn't. And it was, let's see, it takes around 3.4 years. A year on asteroid Kiss is 3.4 years. It's between Mars and Jupiter, but it's closer to Mars. And then what else I don't know if this is going to work. There it is.
Oh yeah.
It's moving.
Yeah.
It's dancing to my singing, I think.
Yeah.
Carl,
I
did
got a bunch of images from our astronomy department was very proud about this. So they got some images from some observatories of when there was a favorable view. And I mean, most of those things are stars, and that's how they pick out a planet as it moves against the star background.
Carl, did you have any horses named after you at the Kentucky Derby?
No, I did not.
Or you want to show us some pictures of some broken jockey legs or bones or something like that?
No. But I can say that I used to have, affirmed was one of the the Triple Crown winners, and I actually had one of his babies was one of our horses that we had taken on. Yeah, it was cool.
So we have Believe in the G coming up next week, our fundraiser. So my 3 associate deans and I decided to celebrate this prematurely on Mars. So you'll be seeing this next week.
That's awesome.
You could go into the JPL has a photo booth. So a lot of people like to put their dogs and cats on Mars, and people they don't like and stuff like that. But these are people I like very much, my associate dean. So
Awesome.
I have lots of other pictures I could share, but I'll go off the deep end. So I'll stop now.
Well,
We are starting to near up on last call. So does anybody else have any other burning questions they want to make sure that they ask, or stories to tell, or?
Can I tell another dean story?
Hey, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things, we've kind of had some administrative turmoil, if you may have noticed, with changing provost and interim provost. And I'll say one of the things I think I feel really good about is the deans have, as a group, have I think come together on a number of issues, and I think we really support each other. It's a very nice peer group for me. I enjoy interacting with Carl. I probably should interact with him more. He's a pretty smart guy, and I think that's been a really positive thing.
Carl, say anything nice?
I would echo that too. It's the our deans, and I think you all probably see this pretty. UNCG is a pretty accessible campus. The deans and chairs and provosts, and so I found, I've been here a year and a half, so I found this to be a very welcoming place, and certainly it's you have access to your administrators ahead of you, and so it's really nice. There's not a whole lot of places that you can reach a provost or chancellor and get a response back for sure the same day, and this is certainly one of those. So it really is. John's right. It's a good group to work with.
Who is the person that is at your chat with the dean hours the most? Dean Medical.
There's a faculty member in community and therapeutic recreation who is probably the most consistent.
Is the answer to that question also Justin Harmon?
Yeah, I can't remember the category name. Justin, just killing time. Was that what it was?
Just in time to kill a joke.
Just in time to kill a joke.
He
Yeah.
decided on one episode that needed to be his T-shirt.
I have to say I'm on your upcoming dean office hours, but I had to write Marianne to say on the website it said March 10:30. And I said, what day in March are his office hours?
Okay,
I don't know if he changed.
Not Marianne B, right?
No, not you, Marianne.
Really?
Admin in the HHS dean's office. Yeah, no, not you.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, Marianne, bring us to a close.
All righty, so that's going to do it for this episode of Liquid Philosophy. We have some interesting things coming up on the horizon. So Justin and I are going to go co-host
Oh, yes.
a webinar called You Should Start a Podcast. It is in conjunction with our National Communication Association Center for Communication, Community Collaboration, and Change, which is being hosted out of our Department of Communication Studies. So we are going to co-host this webinar where we invite in some community partners and some other campus partners to talk about what it's like to host a podcast. And you hear all of the time people saying things like, you should host a podcast just because you have a cool idea. But it actually takes a lot to do this. For the most part, it's pretty simple, but I do have to do a lot of editing for this. Justin's got to do some setup of the appointments. Jeremy's got to bring his squirrel field stories. And so
and I have to harass Marianne a lot. And I said, I have to harass you a lot.
And you do have to harass.
I just come along for the ride, but Justin is the harasser in chief.
And so we want to really talk about, what is it like to host a podcast, but then also like, how can podcasting really serve as a platform for community engagement, and especially during times when we're not able to socially gather in ways that we had previously. So we're going to invite on some community partners from Greensboro who've been doing that on their podcast episodes. And we're going to host that March 17th at 11 a.m., but we're also going to record it so you'll be able to see it afterwards as well. So that's what is on tap for our March episode. And then we're also looking ahead toward April and May as well. So it's going to be a fun spring semester here at Liquid Philosophy. So we're looking forward to seeing all of our guests in the future, and thanking our current guests, Dean Kiss and Dean Manicola. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for playing UNC Jeopardy with us. And we promise we'll send you copies of books when they get here. So
Thank you.
thank you all. Have a
Yeah.
great Thanks for joining us for Liquid Philosophy. We hope you've enjoyed your time thinking and drinking with some local college professors about what we do and why it's important. We do take the topic of drinking very seriously, and we want to make sure that no one is out there drinking and driving. Stay safe, y'all. And if you feel like you're having a problem with alcohol or other drugs, please contact your campus health department or talk to your doctor. I should probably also mention that the views of Liquid Philosophy hosts and our guests do not necessarily reflect the views of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro or the UNC system. That should do it for the disclaimers. Until next time.